Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, October 31, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at this video that was posted on the last day of September for what was expected in terms of rainfall for the month of October. And it's only right considering that today is the last day of October. So let's see if what was predicted for October actually verified. So taking a look at this map from the CFS, that's the climate forecast system, we can make out all the greens that represents rainfall across portions of the Greater Antilles, Cuba, the Western Caribbean, the northern portion of Jamaica, the western portion of Jamaica. And I guess we could say that it indeed came to fruition, especially across northern parishes. We definitely had a lot of rainfall throughout the month of October. So we definitely got what was predicted for this month in general, some areas more than others. But what is being predicted now for the month of November? If we take a look at the CFS for the month of November, we even see a stronger signal for the above normal rainfall that's expected. We know the whites represents normal rainfall, we know the greens represents above normal rainfall, and even all the way up into the blues. That is what is being predicted now for portions of Jamaica, section of Haiti, eastern Cuba. Jamaica is smack dab in the middle of all of this, and this is just the CFS showing that right now. But let us see if the other supercomputer models are in agreement with the CFS. Taking a look here at the CANSIPS model, we can see, yes, we have a lot of green, some blues across portions of the Caribbean. Not so much across Jamaica, but definitely the waters to the south of there affecting portions of Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, into the ABC Islands. But let us match it with what the NMME model is showing. Yes, we see that the darkest greens should be right there to the south of Jamaica for the month of November. That represents a lot of rainfall. So clearly there's something that's going to be happening as we head into November in terms of rainfall. All three major climate forecast models are showing lots of rainfall and increasing rainfall. We see all of the rainfall totals here on the right, especially for the waters in and around Jamaica to the south of the island for sure, if not on land. So prepare yourself. And even if we take a look at the CARICOF's outlook, this is the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum, and it's highlighting the precipitation outlook for the Caribbean from October through to December 2024. So considering that it's November now, we're smack dab in the middle of it, and I'd like for you to keep in mind that this forecast is valid for all 3 months averaged. And we can definitely make out all of the blues that we can see by the key on the bottom that represents above normal rainfall. We see Jamaica right here embedded in some of these blues, but we definitely see the darkest shades of blues right there across the southeastern Caribbean, the ABC Islands in general, Aruba near Curacao, northern Venezuela, portion of the eastern to the northeastern Caribbean, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, portion of the Windward Islands, not so much Trinidad and Tobago, but definitely some above normal rainfall for eastern Venezuela, Guyana, section of western Suriname as well, into portion of the Cayman Islands and Cuba. So look out for that rainfall. If it's not already been falling, it's definitely on its way before we head into the month of January 2025. If we take a look at the Atlantic hurricane and tropical activity based on data from 1944 to 2020, we can see that we're right here on the scale. Considering that it's the last day of October, we're somewhere right here heading into the first day of November, definitely falling off of the mountain in terms of tropical activity, hurricanes, and tropical storms in the red, hurricanes alone in the yellow. So we're definitely starting to wrap up the season. Only a month left, but we know that we can definitely have activity in December still, and considering how warm the waters are across the Atlantic, I wouldn't be surprised if we do indeed getting on some activity during Christmas. We know usually the strong wind shear wraps up the hurricane season. The intertropical convergence zone retreats all the way back to the south, so it's very difficult for us to have systems in the Atlantic, but it has happened before and it could happen again, especially given the very warm waters of the Atlantic. I'll be highlighting those waters shortly. But let us take a look at this data right here, showing the points of origin and the tracks in terms of these tropical systems based on data from 1851 to 2023 for the time period from November 1 to November 10. And we can definitely make out all of these yellow dots that represent the systems where they form, and the black lines represent where they've been. Lots of them to the south and west of Jamaica right here. Some of them to the north of Hispaniola, one right here to the north of the ABC Islands, one right here to the south of Barbados. We have a lot of them scattered here and there. But we see that November 1 to November 10 is not that really active in terms of the systems formulating. And remember that it is based on data from 1851 to 2023. So this is definitely not that much in terms of activity. We've had systems formulating before during this time frame in the past, but to get it this time, this generation, this year could be difficult, but clearly we see what's happening. We see what the supercomputer models have been showing. We see what the U.S. National Hurricane Center has been showing. And we might just get something formulating somewhere right here to the south of Jamaica, if not to the north of Hispaniola, before all is said and done. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And it's definitely what's expected. These are the development areas: the southwestern Caribbean, the western Caribbean, the southwestern Atlantic. So it's typical, it's normal, it's nothing out of the ordinary. And we know that the MDR, the main development region, is usually shut down this time of year. So it all makes sense. And why is that? That's because of the very warm sea surface temperature anomalies. This map is showing the latest that just came out yesterday, October 30, showing how warm the waters are of the Atlantic. Look at all of the yellows, the oranges, even the reds here and there about the place. Lots of very warm ocean sea surface temperatures. And when we're talking about sea surface temperatures, we're talking about how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean. And we know that some of these tropical systems can definitely cause upwelling, cause the skin of the ocean to be stripped off, bringing more in the way of the whites, if not the blues. But we see that there's a lot of untapped water across the Caribbean dying to be used up by some of these tropical systems. And we'll see if all of this is being used up before we wrap up this year in general. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that it's not only about how warm the waters are in the Atlantic, but it's also about how warm the waters are in the eastern to the central Pacific. And we're still on our way to getting that La Nina. We know that the La Nina has to do with the cooler than average sea surface temperatures of the eastern to the central Pacific. And we've been on our way to getting there. We've been neutral for the most part. As a matter of fact, we've been neutral since Beryl. And neutral is basically when we're having the lack of El Nino. We know El Nino has to do with the warmer than average sea surface temperatures across this region that causes more storms, more thunderstorms, and in turn causes more wind shear across the Atlantic that tears the tops of these thunderstorms off in general. So with the lack of El Nino, with more of a neutral condition like what we've been seeing since Beryl, that brought us that long track system all across the main development region, in through the Caribbean to the south of Jamaica, all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, into Texas. We see that even without a La Nina being here, the lack of El Nino, the neutral-like conditions can definitely bring forth bad weather. And we've been getting that. We saw what happened with Milton. We saw what happened with Helene. We saw what happened with Beryl. And we're just going to be getting even more robust in terms of the bad weather before all is said and done with the hurricane season, considering that we're on our way to a La Nina. Not sure if it has been officially declared as yet, but last I heard we were definitely on our way. And I'd also like for you to keep in mind that it's not just about the surface of the water, but how warm the waters are the deeper we go, and we can definitely see that right here. This map showing the tropical cyclone heat potential, which is basically how warm the waters are the farther down into the ocean that we go. And this is as of their latest update that just came out on October 30, and we can definitely make out how warm the waters are, especially the waters in and around Jamaica, Hispaniola, the Cayman Islands. Look at the dark reds, look at the oranges. Very warm water is there, bath water to be exact. We see some yellows here and there, but we see how cool they are right here to the west of Colombia. We see how cool they are to the east of the United States. So we have a lot of very warm waters to work with if we actually get a system to stall out over these warm waters. We can have upwelling, yes, but the thing is, it's just going to be churning up even more warm water because of how warm the waters are the deeper we go. So even if we get our system to stall out, it's going to be strengthening rather than awakening. Alright, so we're going to be talking about what the Hurricane Center is showing, but before we do that, we need to highlight the latest on the other side of the globe. This is the Western Pacific. Yesterday we highlighted Super Typhoon Kongre, which is a Category 4 hurricane at the time, and how it crossed over Taiwan throughout the day today. As of right now, it's packing maximum sustained winds of 60 knots. So it's definitely all the way back down to, if not low-end hurricane, a tropical storm. Definitely did a number on Taiwan in general. We can see the track right here. Jumped all the way from Category 3, where it made landfall as a major hurricane. Not necessarily a super typhoon. Super typhoons are anywhere from Category 4 to Category 5. Definitely crossed from southeast to northwest across the island. Lots of rain, showers, thunderstorms, wind. And then it was predicted to make it all the way down to Category 1 status by the time it's to the northwest of Taiwan, downgrading back to a tropical storm by the time it's to the east of mainland China right there. And we can definitely even see the Taiwan radar that shows what took place. Look at all of the heavy rainfall still taking place, even although the system is all the way up here closer to mainland China. We saw what took place in terms of where it was. Definitely crossed across the island from southeast to northwest. Look at the heavy rainfall, the dark greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. Lots of flash flooding definitely took place. I'm pretty sure that if you look up what Kongre did in Taiwan on X, that's Twitter, or on YouTube, you'll definitely see the destruction. And be careful what you're searching for, because we know that there's a lot of misinformation. There are some crazy people out there putting out videos just because they want some clicks, and they claim that it could be Kongre, but not necessarily. But we have some trusted sources here on our Twitter page. Well, on Twitter, we see Hong Kong Free Press, HKFP, highlighting the damage that Typhoon Kongre did. Look at this. Sheets of zinc scattered all about the place, debris, you name it. And we even had a video here being posted highlighting the destruction from Kongre. We can definitely see the bad weather that was taking place. Look at the heavy rainfall, the strong winds, definitely some blinding rainfall, definitely some damage being done for the most part. It's just ridiculous. We know these systems can cause this type of damage. It can also cause lack of communication. So I implore you, hopefully you actually heeded my warnings. If you have friends or relatives who live in these countries, Taiwan, who live or work in these countries, Taiwan, China, you name it, I hope that you contacted them, because we know what usually comes after the hurricanes have passed. The loss of communication, power outages, internet issues, you name it. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the U.S. National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that as of their latest update, we have 2 new things that they've added today. We have an area across the northern portion of North Atlantic right here to the west of the Azores Islands, which has a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days, as well as within the next 48 hours. We also have another system right here across portions of Puerto Rico that could develop. It has a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours as well as within the next 7 days. And we also have that area across the southwestern Caribbean that now has a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Basically a 10% chance within the next 2 days. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out these entities, the clouds associated with that system. To the west of the Azores, we can definitely see the Azores right here already being plagued with some showers. And we see the area spinning right here to the west of there. We can make out the clouds associated with what's trying to develop across portions of Puerto Rico. And we can also make out the clouds associated with what's across the southwestern Caribbean that's trying to develop. And it's definitely going to be bringing a lot of rainfall to portion of Jamaica as we head into next week. Let us focus our attention on this one first. Not really going to be focusing on this one near the Azores at all, but definitely this one first near Puerto Rico, then this main one that everybody is talking about. So first of all, what the Hurricane Center is stating regarding this one near Puerto Rico is that a trough of low pressure near Puerto Rico is producing widespread cloudiness and showers over the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, the Northern Leeward Islands, and the adjacent waters of the Atlantic and the northeastern Caribbean. Slow development of this system is possible during the next 2 to 3 days as it moves west-northwestward near the Greater Antilles. After that time, this system is expected to be absorbed into the low pressure over the Caribbean. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible during the next several days from the northern Leeward Islands westward across Puerto Rico and Hispaniola to eastern Cuba and the southern or southeastern Bahamas. And as stated, we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Well, let's focus our attention on this one. The Hurricane Center states here, a broad area of low pressure is likely to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea during the next day or so. Gradual development is possible thereafter, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend or early next week, while the system drifts generally northward or northwestward over the central or western Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible over portions of the adjacent land areas of the western Caribbean. We see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours and a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And Jamaica is still being encompassed by the shaded area, so we're still going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for sure regardless of development. And what the Hurricane Center just stated is that when it gets closer to the northwestern Caribbean, this system across Puerto Rico is going to be entangling with the other system, and this stronger system could absorb it in general. So that's going to be quite an interesting sight. Basically, two systems fusing together in a sense. Not necessarily getting bigger or stronger at all, but we'll see how it actually plays out next week. And we even have the ensemble maps definitely in consensus. Lots of spaghetti maps right here. This is the Euro ensemble showing something coming from the southwestern Caribbean, curving upward like it's coming to Jamaica. Then it actually makes more of a northwestward turn. Some of these making it into maybe tropical storm status in the greens, hurricane status in the yellows and oranges. But we see that for the most part, it should be passing to the south of Jamaica according to this latest run of the Euro Ensemble spaghetti models. Some of them making it across Jamaica. But we know the usual top right hand side of these systems has the most rainfall. So we're definitely going to still be getting on the bad weather. We're on that nasty side. If we take a look at the GFS ensembles, we see something different. We don't see majority of them pushing to the south and west of us like what the Euro had. We have some of them even making it across Jamaica in the yellows and oranges, hurricane status, greens, tropical storm status. Some of them even making it as far east as Hispaniola and Cuba. So we still have some things to work out. We still have some contrasts. We don't see the 100% agreement as yet. So we have to continuously watch the models, especially this weekend into early next week. and we need to realize that there's a lot of rainfall coming. So we also need to look at what the supercomputer models themselves are showing. We're going to be looking at the latest run of the Euro first. We're going to be going on to the next one, just 68 hours. So focus your attention on the timestamp right here. And we're going to be focusing our attention on the Caribbean in general for all of the moisture represented by the greens that we see on the right, all the way up into the yellows, the 5, the 6s, the reds, the 12 inches of a rainfall range. And we're just going to be going on to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, to see what the latest run of the Euro is showing. Then we're going to be looking at what the latest run of the GFS is showing, just to see the comparisons, just to see the similarities and the differences as usual. So we see that ridge of high pressure to the north of the Caribbean, to the east of the United States. We see it on both the Euro and the GFS modes. And as we continue to go out in time, look at this. Even as we head into Friday, we still have some rainfall plaguing northern and eastern Jamaica for sure. This is 12Z on Friday, which is actually 7 a.m. November 1 for sure. Even as we head into Saturday, we still see some rainfall as represented by the greens, the moisture in and around Jamaica. As we continue to go out in time now, look at what takes place. This is 12Z on Monday, 7 a.m. We see somewhat of a broad area of low pressure to the south of the island. Who knows, maybe we're going to be waking up Monday morning to a lot of rainfall affecting us for sure. We see that broad area of low pressure. Let's go out in time to see what the GFS is showing for 7 a.m. on Monday. Alright, we start to see some differences. This is where the Euro has it by 7 a.m. on Monday. 12Z is 7 a.m. The Euro has it to the south of Jamaica, broad area of Spain. The GFS has it right here to the south of Haiti. Quite a big difference in general of where the GFS wants to consolidate the area or the center of circulation. But we definitely see a huge isobar right here. So we have some kind of broad area of low pressure trying to do something. Lots of moisture going to be involved. As we continue to go out in time, even as we head into Tuesday, we see it passing to the south of us, pushing northwestward. So maybe a track similar to Beryl in general. But we see, look at all of the dark greens, look at the yellows. Even if it passes to our west, as I stated before, we're going to be getting that wet, nasty side. Look at the heavy rainfall, the greens, the yellows coming into portions of Jamaica by 90 on Tuesday, November 5. That's what, 4 a.m. on Tuesday. Lots of rainfall coming in throughout the day, Tuesday into Wednesday, a lot of rainfall. And then by the end of the 168 hours, this is where it's located. Even although we have a string of moisture stretching into the Western Caribbean, the Central Caribbean, the Southern and Eastern Caribbean. On this latest run of the Euro has the system right there across the Yucatan Peninsula, majority of it in the water between the Yucatan and Cuba. But let us see what the GFS is showing as we continue to go out in time. We see what's taking place as we head into the end of the 168 hours. We see the differences. We see that the area of low pressure should be right here to the northwest of the western tip of Cuba. The Euro has it more so closer to the Yucatan Peninsula. But we also see that we still have that string of moisture stretching into portion of the central and eastern Caribbean. So regardless of what takes place, there's going to be a lot more moisture coming in, a lot of rainfall still to come. And as such, we know the next names on the list are Patty, we have Raphael, I believe, and then I think the next one is Sarah. So we have to pay close attention just in case any one of these systems gets the name 3 entities being watched by the Hurricane Center. My bet is on this becoming Patty, this one closest to us. And maybe the other systems, maybe Raphael, if not Sarah. We'll see exactly what unfolds within the next 7 days. Who knows, maybe one of the other systems, maybe this one closer to the Azores might get the name Patty before anything else. We know these things go. It's only a matter of time before everything bumps up. Remember what happened with Oscar. Or Oscar just rapidly developed into a tropical system right here to the north of Hispaniola. So anything can definitely play out. And regardless of whatever plays out, as I've stated before, there's a lot of rainfall coming. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until November 7. And just like what the Euro and the GFS models were showing a while ago, we saw the heaviest of the rainfall, let me use black, coming into Jamaica, stretching all the way from the Panama coast, the Colombia coast, and coming all the way up into portion of Jamaica. So we see the differences now. We see the purples, we see the pinks, we see the salmon colors that represents anywhere from 3 all the way up to 7 inches of rainfall, like what we see on the key on the right. And that's what's expected during the first 7 days of November, according to this latest run of the Euro models accumulated precipitation forecast. And we know that all of that can definitely cause flooding, landslides, you name it. Some of this rainfall into portions of the Cayman Islands, section of Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, even some light blues in there that represents all the way up to 10-12 inches of rainfall. Section of Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands getting in on the mix. Look at the GFS. GFS, as stated, is bringing more of the rainfall into Haiti in general. Look at some of the blues in there, the salmon colors, lots of rainfall. So we still have some things to work out in terms of exactly what unfolds. Either way, somewhere across the Greater Antilles is going to be getting in a lot of rainfall within the next 7 days. We have to stay updated to see how these models change. Will the GFS cave to what the Euro is showing and bring more of the rainfall into portion of Jamaica? Will the Euro cave to what the GFS is showing and bring more of the rainfall into portion of Haiti? We just have to wait it out and see exactly what unfolds. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. Boy, if this one plays out, it would definitely be a bad situation for Haiti. We know they have a lack of trees in that country because they cut them down to make coal for energy. And with all the chaos still ensuing across that country, boy, they couldn't manage all the flooding that could take place. We know how easy it is for flooding to take place there, loss of lives, you name it. So we don't want anything like that to happen. As a matter of fact, we don't want what the Euro is showing for Jamaica, because even with just a little drop of rain, we can get flooding and somebody being washed away or killed. So what we're hoping for is more of the rainfall spread out, not to be falling all at once, accumulating over an area and bring a lot of flooding. What we want is the rainfall, yes, but more so to bring water in our pipes and cool down the temperatures, not necessarily to fall continuously and heavily to cause great damage, landslides, flooding, or anything like that. Alright, let us take a look at what the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening is showing. We can see we have a tropical wave right here across portion of Jamaica, a tropical wave right here to the east of the Caribbean affecting portion of Suriname. We still have that frontal system right here stretching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the eastern Caribbean. A trough, and attached to that trough is an area of low pressure across the main development region. Another trough of low pressure across the western coast of Africa right there. And the usual ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the Atlantic from the air right here, Africa, into the main development region. Lots of cool air coming from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portion of the Greater Antilles, and we definitely got to know some of that within the past 24 hours. We definitely talked about the cool temperatures across especially St. James, section of St. Anne, got to know some of that as well, according to some of our followers. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out some of these entities that we just highlighted. The clouds associated with the frontal system bring some amount of clouds into portion of the eastern Caribbean. We can make out the area of low pressure associated with that trough across the main development region. The clouds associated with that trough of low pressure across the western coast of Africa. Lots of clouds associated with the systems that the Hurricane Center is watching right here. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, October 31, 2024. It was stated that parts of northern Jamaica would have received some rainfall last night into Thursday morning, and that some of this rainfall would have affected sections of some southern parishes during Thursday afternoon. And just for reference, we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? Yes, we didn't be getting on that rainfall last night, and we got in on that activity even in this morning. as the visible satellite image was posted here on our Twitter page at around 7:01 a.m. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So yes, we saw the visible satellite imagery being posted this morning, still highlighting that flow of clouds coming in more so from the northeast, bring some overcast skies and some isolated showers to northern parishes. Again, that relief rainfall is definitely real. Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne got in on the rainfall, Trelawney too, isolated showers, definitely all of that from that northeasterly flow. Look how void of clouds the southern parishes are. Hot and dry in general. We're already getting in on that December, January, February, March kind of weather pattern with the northeasterly flow that favors rainfall from the north coast, which explains the usual dry conditions on the south coast. And if we take a look at what was posted during the afternoon hours, 4:15 p.m., showed that we definitely were still getting in on that rainfall across portion of northern Jamaica, but we started to get in on some of the action across some southern parishes, sections of southwestern St. Catherine, Clarendon, southern Clarendon that is, got in on some isolated shores which led into some thunderstorms. We saw the sparkling yellow dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, and we even had some of the activity across portions of southwestern St. Elizabeth as well. Some isolated shores for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can make out that definite northeasterly flow, piling up all of the clouds into Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne with the isolated shores, thunderstorms across portion of southern Clarendon, some isolated shores exiting the coast of St. Elizabeth for sure, just as predicted before all was said and done with the day and we lost that sunlight. And we can see it all even better on the infrared satellite images showing the thunderstorms. We see the sparkling white dots leaving Clarendon, leaving St. Elizabeth, definitely showing that we had some isolated shores within these clouds, and then they developed even more the more they went towards the southwest. More thunderstorms right there to the southwest of the island. We also have the high cold clouds being blown off towards the east southeast, just as predicted with that west northwesterly flow across the island, that upper level wind. So we definitely had some thunderstorms before all was said and done with the day, just as predicted for southern Jamaica. Well, some spots, not necessarily all. And if we take a look here at the live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, if you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. They show live streams of Halfway Tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, Flatbridge, you name it, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So if I were you, I'd subscribe today that I don't miss out. And we can definitely see on the Halfway Tree cam today at around 1:45 p.m. we didn't have much taking place, more so partly cloudy skies than anything else. We see the clouds bringing some shade here and there to parts of Halfway Tree, to parts of the hills of St. Andrew. We also see the clouds right here concentrated across the northern portions of St. Andrew in general, to show that majority of the rainfall was on the other side, Portland, St. Mary for sure, getting on all of that isolated shower activity, while it was more so dry on this side of the island in general. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map paints quite the picture of where we had that rainfall, just as predicted for northern Jamaica last night into this morning, and for portion of southern parishes, Clarendon, southwestern St. Catherine, and section of southwestern St. Elizabeth, as well as the waters to the southwest of there, got in on the brunt of the rainfall for sure. And we definitely have a comment here from one of our followers. On our Facebook page, we had Sylvia Bando stating rain in Brownstown, St. Anne this morning. Thank you for confirming it for me. And we also had Anto_Netty _89 stating it rained in my area of St. Andrew, just to prove that we got on some of the clouds building some isolated shores across portion of some southern parishes as well. Not just St. Catherine, not just Clarendon, not just St. Elizabeth, even portion of St. Andrew got on some of these clouds spilling in from the northeast as well. If we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, we can definitely see the latest image just came out as of 15 minutes past the hour. So this one just came out at 7:15 p.m. So that just came out 14 minutes ago. We can make out some milky whitish clouds across portions of Portland, maybe spilling into section of St. Andrew right there. Let us see if the Doppler radar images are highlighting anything regarding rainfall still across these spots. All right, definitely. Look at this. We see some of the rainfall coming into portions of western Portland, section of St. Mary for sure. We can even make out some amount of rainfall right there across the waters to the southwest of the island. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that this is as of the latest image that came out at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:20 p.m. Jamaica time. So this just came out 10 minutes ago, and we definitely have that rainfall right there. The greens, the yellows, they represent some moderate to heavy rainfall for sure across the waters to the southwest of the island, across the waters to the north of Portland, heading into Portland and portion of St. Mary for sure. Just like what we just saw on the infrared, we see the clouds to the southwest, we see the clouds on the northeast side, so it definitely makes sense with what we're seeing on the Cuban Doppler radar images here. And if we take a look at the latest Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar Station images, we can definitely see some rainfall across eastern Cuba, some isolated shores heading into Portland, just like what we just saw on the infrared satellite image, as well as the Cuban Doppler radar image. So it all makes sense, it all matches. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we do make out some isolated shores coming in from the east to northeast for a portion of the Cayman Islands. Not so much Grand Cayman, but the islands to the northeast of there. Some rainfall right there to the southwest of Jamaica as well. And if we take a look at the latest, what's happening across Flatbridge, you can definitely see people in their vehicles going about their business. Flatbridge not getting in and much in the way of rainfall today at all. Definitely dry weather for the most part as of their latest stream, showing 7:31 p.m. Jamaica time. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, remaining 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some slight blue colors that we can see by the key on the right. That represents at least 1 degree Celsius below normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures. We're heading into November now. So the normal temperatures for the month of November, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that is calculated, let's see, let me do some calculations real quick in my head. 88 Fahrenheit to Celsius should be anywhere from around if it's not 31, I believe it could be 30 degrees Celsius for sure. Alright, so the answer is definitely yes, 31. It's still 31 degrees Celsius for sure. 31.1. I just did some quick math. So in October it's 31.6 with the 89 degrees Fahrenheit. In November it's all the way down to 31.1. So let's say round it off to the nearest. So it's 31 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And considering that's going to be 1 degree Celsius below normal, it should be anywhere from 30 to 31 on Friday for sure. And regardless, we know 30 degrees Celsius is still too hot. And it could be cooler than that, especially where we have the cooler than, where we have the northeast trade winds, especially on the north coast for sure. So look out for that, anywhere maybe from 27 to 30 in some spot. But either way, we're still going to be hot. Definitely going to be hot. We always have to try to beat the heat either way. I would definitely avoid alcohol and caffeine as they make us dehydrated even worse. I would definitely try to limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. I would definitely take a soak, take a cool shower or a bath to help me cool down. And finally, I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated by drinking lots of water. If I were you, I'd drink water instead. Put away all of the sugary drinks that you guys are so used to and addicted to. Drink water throughout the day. We know that a huge percentage of our bodies is made up of water, so why not replenish your body with all the water as much as possible? If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, we can still make out that areas across North America, the Caribbean, South America, Central America, still in the clear. Jamaica right here in the clear for 2 p.m. on Friday for sure. All the dust as represented by the brown should be across the waters of the main development region right here. That's what we like to see. We don't like to see all of this pushing from east-west across the Caribbean, especially causing hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. Even though we know the Saharan dust is good for choking the systems off, we know that it's bad for us in general. Inhaling all of that is definitely bad. We don't want any respiratory illnesses at this time at all. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that all of the strong or the high wave heights that we're seeing across the northern portion of North Atlantic are finally starting to make their way into portion of the Caribbean. Anywhere from the Leeward Islands, northward and westward, should be getting on those purples into the Burgundies that represents the 2 meter wave heights, all the way up to 3, maybe 4 meter wave heights for sure. The eastern to the central and western Caribbean should be getting on those blues than anything else, anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 20 to 25, maybe all the way up to 30 knots, especially across the parts of the Atlantic right here, closest to the northern Caribbean, eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, northern Hispaniola. And we see that across the Caribbean itself, we should be getting in on more of a southeasterly flow, where we have that system that has a low chance of development near Puerto Rico. We see the broad air of spin right here across the southwestern Caribbean with that other system. And we see the general flow right here coming in from the northeast across Jamaica for sure. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica for tomorrow, we still are going to be getting on more of that northeasterly, if not east-northeasterly kind of flow across the island. Strong winds with the bright greens and yellows representing anywhere from 20 to 25 knots, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And we also see the air piling up again, especially across sections of some southern parishes, so we can't rule out some more isolated showers for section of southern Jamaica during the afternoon, and some isolated showers coming from off of the sea from northern Jamaica tonight into tomorrow again, so look out for that. Definitely, that's the pattern. It's definitely stuck at this point. Northern Jamaica rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning. Southern Jamaica rainfall during the afternoon. I wouldn't be surprised if we're still getting on that rainfall across portion of northern parishes during the afternoon as well. And if we take a look at the wind shear map, we're still having that upper level wind coming in from the west and northwest, maybe to bring more overcast skies, if not isolated showers, to section of some southern parishes. And we saw what took place today. The high cold cloud was being sheared off or blown off to the south and east, or the east-southeast, when we had the upper level wind shear pushing those thunderstorm clouds off to that side. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's tonight. This is 9 p.m. Jamaica time. And we're seeing the blues that represent rainfall that's still going to be affecting portion of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, section of St. Thomas getting in on the action as well. We see the darkest blues out to sea with the greens, yellows out there. The GFS has that closer to Portland than anything else for that time period. Very interesting, very wet night for Portland and St. Mary. Could definitely continue throughout the night as we head into tomorrow morning. This is valid for 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. And look at that, we still see much of the same. The blues that represent rainfall on both the Euro and the GFS modes for areas like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, sections of St. Thomas getting in on the action for sure. Then look at this. This is valid for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. We still see much of the same. Lots of rainfall for northern Jamaica, well, northeastern Jamaica than anything else. Then by afternoon now, look at this. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see? We see the blues that represent rainfall across northern or northeastern parishes, as well as sections of some southern parishes, anywhere from Westmoreland eastward, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrews section of western St. Thomas getting in on the action. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in consensus with this forecast as well. And even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 3Z on Saturday, which is actually 10 p.m. on Friday. And we can make out the heaviest rainfall that's coming, especially for northeastern Jamaica, in the oranges and the yellows, all the way up to an inch of rainfall for sure. And as usual, the afternoon rainfall for southern parishes. Very interesting times, very stuck weather pattern in general, but we'll take it. We're finally out of the wettest month of the year. We're in the month of November. In November, we usually receive what, 50 millimeters of rainfall. For Kingston, in Montego Bay, we usually receive what? That's close to 5 inches of rainfall. Let's see, 5 inches of rainfall should be anywhere from around 125, yeah, somewhere close to 125 millimeters of rainfall. In Kingston, 50 millimeters of rainfall should be what, 2 inches of rainfall. So we don't normally receive a lot of rainfall for the month of November. But if you remember what was shown at the beginning, the climate maps for the month of November are highlighting a lot of rainfall. The CFS, look at the blues, that's representing what, 8 all the way up to 10, 14 inches of rainfall. The CANSIPs showing a lot of rainfall across the Caribbean, especially the waters to the south of Jamaica. The NMME model showing a lot of rainfall, especially to the south of Jamaica. So we're gonna be in for it. Even the CARICOF showing a lot of rainfall across the northern Caribbean, eastern Caribbean, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao getting on the brunt of it. So we have to pay close attention to see exactly what unfolds regarding this this November in general. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the month of November, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and they'll give you that information, and you can look at this little graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters to help you out. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of clouds associated with that trough of low pressure that the Hurricane Center has given a low chance of development across the waters in and around Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, the Dominican Republic, sections of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, eastward Dominica, section of Guadeloupe, Martinique. We also see a lot of rainfall still plaguing portions of Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, as usual, section of the Bahamas getting on some of the action too. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, if these images are going to be loading for me, let's see. I actually loaded them and I don't know why they keep glitching out as we continue to go out. Alright, I think it's loading. Here we go. Alright, so here we go, the northeastern Caribbean, just like what we're seeing on the satellite images now. Now we see the rainfall taking place. Look at the heavy rainfall lashing portion of southeastern Puerto Rico as we speak. The yellows, the oranges, the reds. We see a lot of rainfall between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as well. Rainfall in and around the US and British Virgin Islands. Some rainfall in and around Guadeloupe, the Leeward Islands in general. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much taking place. We do see some rainfall right there to the east of Dominica. Let's see, right there to the east of Dominica. Some rainfall to the east of Martinique and St. Lucia. Scrolling down, we do make out some isolated shores right there to the east of Grenada. Some of this could definitely make it into Grenada tonight. Not seeing much taking place across Trinidad and Tobago right now at all. But if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can definitely make out some rainfall across the Yucatan, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua. We also see some rainfall across section of Colombia, section of Venezuela. We see some rainfall into portion of northeastern Venezuela as well. And if we scroll up, we can make out that we do have some isolated shores right there to the southeast of Florida, some of which making in to portion of southern Florida as we speak. And regarding where all of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that should be getting in on most of the rainfall. And we can definitely see the reds that represents up to 1 inch of rainfall, the burgundies, the 2 inches, the purples that represents the 3 inches, up to the pinks into the 4-inch range. For the northeastern Caribbean, section of the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. We see that both the year and the GFS models are in consensus with that. We also see some isolated shores in store for anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, sections of Barbados getting in on the mix, Grenadines getting in on the mix according to Euro, not so much GFS, Grenada not so much, Trinidad and Tobago not so much either, but we do make out some isolated shores for portions of Guyana, some isolated shores for portions of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, some isolated shores in store for portions of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, sections of Cuba, the Bahamas as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.